Hello and welcome to the Mental Society. I am Amanda Dolan. So excited to have you all here, and I am joined today by James Cox. James is the host of a podcast. It's When Words Fail, Music Speaks. That's where he and his friend discuss how music can help with depression. And James has also lived with cerebral palsy his whole life. And he is working to help people understand that living with a disability does not define who he is. He is a lot more than that. And I'm so excited to spend some time here talking to him and hearing a little bit more about his journey, his love of music, and well, just life. So welcome, James. I am so excited you're here. So we were kind of chatting earlier, music, like that's your true love.
That's my thing. Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, music is very beneficial for society, I think now more than ever. Because I think social media hit around 2010 and it just took a swan dive. It's all about me nowadays, and not everybody helps out other people. And I just want to bring a more of a light to the darkness and saying that there is hope for people with depression. They can always listen to music, and that'll pretty much not totally heal them, but make them feel a whole lot better about themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I love music, and I don't know about for you, but music, one, I know words to all the songs. I never know who sings them when they came out, the name of the song, but I love to sing along. And I don't know about for you, but music hits me like in the memories, right? And so oftentimes I'll hear a song and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember this amazing time when I was with these
So
people
yeah.
or doing this thing. So how do you think that like those memories of music like impact us? Is that something you've talked to people about or thought about?
Well, I think okay, so I think I know where you're going with this. Music can help you. Like, okay, so not to get total darkness here,
Yeah.
but when somebody passes away, because I've heard your podcast on suicide and you,
Mhm.
letting me meaning you, there you talked about people who who pass away, and I know people who pass away from suicide, and that's always a tragic moment in your life. But hearing music um that you and the other person connected so well with, it's more of like a relaxing tool than anything in life. Because you remember those good times and those bad times with that person, and you're like, oh crap, yeah, I remember this when this was so good in my life. Yeah, music just does that. And I've heard it can bring back. I think I saw a YouTube video where this guy had like Alzheimer's or something,
Mhm.
and he started listening to music, and he just lit up. You know, so music just does wonderful, wonderful things to everybody.
Oh, I mean, so I'll just share a quick story. Right before my father died, we were in the car and there was a song. Oh, I can't remember who sings it. All of a sudden it's left me, but it's Holes in the Floor of Heaven. Steve Warner, maybe?
Yes,
I don't
yes, that's
know.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And the idea is every time it rains, someone in heaven is crying tears of joy watching what's happening on earth. My
Beautiful.
dad said, we heard that song in the car on the way to the hospital, and they said, when you hear the song, I want you to think of me. Well, the day of his funeral,
Mhm.
poured rain.
Oh no.
The
Yeah,
day my sister graduated from high school, which was like the next big event,
yeah.
um, they said her name and she was about to walk across the stage. The skies opened up. I mean, like just torrential downpour.
Isn't that the best though?
And
You
it's
know?
just this reminder that like this song that he was just like, remember this song,
Yeah,
it has shown up in crazy ways for
yeah.
me.
Right,
And, I could choose to say, it's just a coincidence.
right.
I choose not to because that song connected me to my father.
I don't
Um,
think it is coincidence.
no,
You
I
know?
don't. Yeah, like the world is magical.
Right.
Um, It really is. And so I think, yeah, like you said, it helps us remember the good times and the bad times.
Right.
Um, but also, so curious, do you like to sing along loudly with music when you're
I do. Okay, so way back when, okay, so I'm not sure if you share the same sentiment with my sister, but back when I was in high school, I mean, she could hear a song right off the bat and instantly know the words next time she hears it. Right. Bothered me so much. I still can't do that to today. I need to play it over and over and over. Um, but I forgot your question now. What was it? I'm sorry.
singing loudly to the songs?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 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 So anytime I'm in the car, the shower, I sing tremendously in the shower because no one's there to see it. You know, it's like
And the acoustics, right?
yeah,
Like you sound so good in the
right.
bathroom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I still need to go. Oh wait, okay, that's not there. You know, because I'm still so jealous of my sister. But yes, I do sing loudly, loudly and proudly. You know. Oh.
Good. I do too, to the point where I embarrass my teenagers, which
Now I do sing sometimes when I'm in the car with somebody. I'm not sure if I'm blowing out their eardrums or sounding real bad. They tell me I sound good, but I'm like, I
I
don't
mean,
I don't believe you. You know.
my my friend was over at my house yesterday, and I was listening to music while she was here, and I started singing, and I was like, I'm sorry you have to hear that. And she was like, I love your joy in your singing.
Yes,
And I was
yes,
like, thank you. I think
right. I think I don't know.
I mean,
Yes.
sure, it was joyful.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, my you were talking about knowing lyrics. My sister and I both have this weird ability to know lyrics. We're like, we wonder how much more we could have accomplished if like 2/3 of our brain space wasn't taken up by random lyrics.
Random stuff. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And like with my sister too, she and we live in very different parts of the country. I am in Texas now, and she's in Colorado. And for a while, she lived in Ireland and San Francisco. She's been all over. But growing up, we always would sing in the car, and we have dances, like goofy dances to so many songs. And sometimes, like, I'll be in the car with someone else, and that song will come on, and I'll do the dance, and they're like, because
What
all
do
the dances are car dances.
right,
It's
right.
like, you got to dance in the car to the music and sing. So, yeah, but it's those memories that bring me so much joy, especially when I'm not feeling great. I can turn on that music that feels good.
Right.
Um, and so, like for you, what brought you to music in the first place?
Oh, okay. So I was raised on country. I'm not sure if that's one of your favorite all-time genres, which should be if it's not.
I love it.
The country is amazing. I don't know why country gets so much hate now or ever had. Because country music is so good for the soul too.
It
And I
is.
think that's the number one genre of all time. People still listen to that genre more so than jazz, rock, rap, whatever, you know. But my parents brought me up on country and other artists. My dad was a big CCR fan, Creedence Clearwater Revival fan. I still love him to this day. But every time we were in the car, music was always on. You know, always country. You know, not rock and roll or anything. Um, so I guess I can't say my parents brought me into music way back when. Because I remember going to Busch Gardens back in the 80s and early 90s. I guess they had to deal with the concert scene,
Mhm.
and I used to go there with my mom and dad and saw like all kinds of country acts like Barbara Mandrell and Johnny Cash. I saw Johnny Cash and I don't remember it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I know. I was like, no,
how cool though you got to see him.
I know, right? But I don't remember that. But because I was like 5, 6 years old, I'm like, okay, well, there's some guy singing. Okay, cool. You know, I didn't realize it was him. And I saw Alabama, the Judge. So many good country stars. You know,
That is incredible. My first concert that I remember was with my parents was Peter, Paul, and Mary.
nice.
Um, my dad was like all into like folk, and he loved the
Yeah.
Kingston Trio. Um, he also loved music from the 50s. So even though like growing up in the 80s, like we were listening to that music from the 60s and early 70s, which was a great way to like, right, get indoctrinated into a whole different music than what is on the radio. And when I don't know exactly how old you are, but I think we're about the same age.
I just turned 43 in January 5th. So
I turned 43 this past August. So we're almost exactly the same age.
yeah.
We grew
Cool.
up in the same
Yeah,
you
same
know,
era. Yeah.
in our era, you listened to music on the radio. There was no, streaming service. There was no,
Phones. Yeah, we didn't
yeah,
have that.
yeah. You couldn't go to YouTube and find a new artist, or, find someone on TikTok on your For You page. Like, you either heard them live, you heard them on the radio, a friend told you and let you borrow their album.
That's it. Hey.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or,
I know things are coming back. You know that?
art cassettes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Why?
because
I mean,
they're so great that we have to watch. No, because some artists release like vinyls with good like cassette tapes. They're
mhm.
so awesome. Yeah, yeah. But I don't have a cassette player, so it's like,
I know, I
oh,
don't.
all right. Yeah.
I think the only CD player I have is in my car. But I don't know about you, and the excitement that I had of like wanting to have that one song recorded. And so sitting there next to your like tape recorder with the radio on, and you got to push both buttons down. You're okay, please, DJ, don't talk over the whole intro. Right.
Do Do you remember Wayne's World when it first came out, and
Yes. In
and
fact,
how
my
much
grandmother took me to see that.
and how much Bohemian Rhapsody like blew up?
Yes.
I did that. I sat down to the radio and waited for that song. Well, when that song come on, but when that song came on, my mom says I had to take a shower and I missed the whole song. I'm like, no, dude. So I had to wait the next day. and like,
Oh,
and
it's the worst, because if you didn't get it, then like you've got to wait
yeah,
for you don't know how long.
right. But
But
now it's like now you can do it with your phone, and it's like
oh yeah,
happen.
you
And
can
yeah, yeah,
find everything. You can create a playlist of all the most random songs. But I have a theory about Bohemian Rhapsody, and that is if you were riding in the car with someone and that song comes on and they don't start singing a different part, like if you all aren't harmonizing, even poorly,
gun
that
friendship.
person, like
Yeah,
that person even worth spending time with. I
exactly.
mean, you
Exactly.
gotta
Yeah.
like love there's just something about like that song, and they're, Sweet Caroline, right? They're
Yes.
just those songs that like kind of everyone knows and sings along with. And there's something about the community, I think, that comes with music.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
whether it's Sweet Caroline in a bar, or who is it? The Juggalos? Are they the why can't I think of who they are? They dress up as clowns. Insane Clown Posse, is that
I
who
see. Yes. Yes.
and the
I see.
Juggalos, and the right, like that's a whole
Yeah.
community of
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Or, even like the Swifties with Taylor Swift, right? Who
I
whole
like Taylor Swift. I do like one of her songs from her whole catalog. It's called "Style,"
yeah.
only because that reminds me of the 80s. I love 80s music. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, great. 90s, I,
I
I
love
I love the 90s, but not as much as 50s through the 80s. Oh my
oh, I love
God.
the 80s. The 90s that I love is that like alternative grunge music, because that's, what I grew up on. But also sometimes listening to that, it can
So,
bring
so which band of the grunge age did you love the most? Because
oh,
that's the big four. Okay, you got Nirvana, you got Soundgarden, you got Alice in Chains, and you got Pearl Jam. Now I throw in some Temple Pilots in there, but that wasn't part of the big four. I don't think.
so it's interesting. I really liked like of those Nirvana, but in part because
Oh
of
no,
what I love.
you gave the right answer. You
But
can.
like there was something about like Kurt Cobain
Mhm.
and like his energy and, like I love
Yeah.
the, and I love a million other bands. But the thing about, you know, with Kurt Cobain, when he died, and
Yeah.
I know that was he murdered or did he kill himself? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Really,
Right.
he
Yeah.
died.
But yeah.
And for me at the time, when I was I guess I was still in high school then, that was, it hit hard as this incredibly talented person ended their life.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and I was struggling with my own mental health at that time and not getting the answers that I needed and the treatment that I needed. And I know for me, and part of that, and I don't know about how you felt when artists that you love have died, or part of me kind of died with him.
Right.
It took, it's like, and I think some of it was like, man, if this talented, famous, wealthy person struggles, how is there any hope for me?
Yeah. I feel the same way.
Um, and yet also how, I don't want to use this word necessarily, but how great or awesome is it that like we're not alone in that you can realize that mental illness doesn't pick and choose. Like it doesn't matter if you're rich or beautiful or famous or whatever.
Right.
We're all prone and have like we all can get it. Just kind of like cancer or whatever. Like
I've heard the saying, it's okay not to be okay. And yes, that is a perfect mantra for today's society, I think.
and I think I I like to scroll on TikTok. Um,
As do I. Yeah.
it's maybe more than I should because every so often, I don't know if the person comes up for you, but it's like, oh, hey, you should take a break. You've been scrolling too long.
I never get
That
that.
person ever
Yeah.
show up for you? I think it happens after like 45 minutes of
Yeah,
continuous
yeah.
scrolling, but I get sucked into rabbit holes. But being on there, you find like you kind of end up on your side of TikTok, right?
Mm.
Like so I'm on the ADHD neurodivergent side because
Okay. Yeah.
it, aligns with kind of and mental health, and seeing how many people struggle and how similar some of those struggles are to mine, I feel a whole lot less alone.
Yes. Right. Good. Because
And
everybody's with you. I mean, because I've met so many people on this on my podcast where yes, it looks like they are really famous, and you think of their lifestyle, they go out and tour the whole world, but they're like you and me, they have the same feelings as we do,
and
and they're going through the same stuff you and me are sometimes, maybe I don't know.
well, it's you're talking about like musicians or
Yeah,
famous or not, they're just like you and
yeah,
I. And
yeah.
a couple of months ago, my daughter went to the Post Malone concert with her dad, and
Post
had
Malone.
she had a great time, and they were up near the front. She got pictures. One of his opening acts took a picture with my daughter. Like he came down and was in the crowd and took a picture with her, and she was so nervous, and she was talking about how excited it was, like she was, but how nervous she was meeting him.
Oh, she
But
got a minute.
not Post Malone, one of the
Oh,
opening acts.
okay.
I don't. I
Oh,
should
okay.
know, but I don't because
Right.
that's not my musical jam.
Yeah, yeah.
But she was so excited. But we ended up having a conversation about, well, why were you nervous meeting him? Because he's famous. Okay, like I mean, sure. Why is he famous? Well, because he's a talented musician. Awesome. It's like, well, how would you feel if you met somebody that, helped develop a vaccine that saved lives or, treatment for cancer? And she was like, well, I would be nervous meeting them too, because they're really smart and they created something.
Right.
And so we talked about like how famous people aren't better or more special than you. They just have a different
Different
skill
life.
set, like in
Yeah.
a different life. scientists, right, who are great at their job don't get in front of the cameras and don't get that same celebrity status
Right.
that, a musician gets.
If I could piggyback off that.
Yes.
So with me in this podcast, we've been doing it for almost 3 years coming February. So the first big guest that I've had on, I'm sure you've heard of him. His name is Buddy Jewel,
Mhm.
country star, country singer. So I was really nervous, because it was he was one of my very first interviews. Um, and I texted my friend and I told her, hey man, I'm really nervous. Can you help me out here? She's like, why are you nervous, man? He's human just like you. I'm like, well, you got a point there. I don't know why I'm nervous now. And the interview went so great. Yeah. So don't be nervous about anybody because they're just like you with problems just like you. I mean, they're human.
And I think there's something to be said for that in general. Like, I think
Right.
anytime you meet someone, just remember that they are a human just like you.
Yeah.
And
Right.
find ways you can connect. And, we're talking about music too. I think music is such a great way to connect with others, right? Like we talked about Swifties, right? But
Yeah.
but even if you think about like the Juggalos with Insane Clown Posse, or, I mean, every musician kind of has their like core followers. Or, if you're out somewhere and a song comes on and you get excited and someone else across the room is just as excited, like you
Like,
can kind of
yeah.
connect, like, you
Yeah.
get eye contact, like, I see
Yeah.
you.
Right.
And again, it's a way to not feel so alone and to feel connected. And I think community is, I mean, that's part of why I'm doing this podcast, right? It's the mental societies. Society impacts our mental health, and our mental health impacts
Yeah.
society. And so I think that, right, when we have that connection through music, it, I don't know, there's something magical about it. So in this 3 years almost of doing your podcast, what kind of community have you all created with other music lovers?
I really can't answer that fully to the extent because uh we don't get any feedback. I guess that's a good thing, but then it could be a bad. I'm not really sure. I mean,
Right.
we have had uh some people reach out to us and say, "I really love what y'all do. I listen every day. Me and my son listen to you every day. Thank you so much for making this." And I don't know. I mean, I know I know that it's working, but we just aren't receiving any feedback yet. I
Yeah.
did. I did a podcast with Alice from Alice in Wonderland podcast, and she wrote me the sweetest note. She said after she was talking to me about music, she reached back out to her sister, which she hasn't done in years. She unboxed all of her vinyl and started to listen to it. I mean, she was like thrilled about like music again. You know.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love it. And we don't always hear, right, that like we've impacted someone. And so to hear it has to feel
Right. Yeah.
incredible, to know that your love of music helped someone else
Right.
rekindle their love of music and rekindle a relationship with their family, which is,
And and that's all I want to do. I just want to help people. That's my mission in life. So.
um so when you think about depression and music, what do you think how do you think music impacts depression for you or for others?
Oh, so for me, whenever I feel depressed, I listen to either Luke Combs or Eric Church, and they get me right out of it. I don't know what it is about them, but they just transcend me out of depression like quick. I don't know what it is, because Eric Church has two songs that I really fell in love with. It's "Round Here Buzz" or "Round Here," I guess, and the other song called is "Talladega." That
Okay.
song, man, I don't know what it is about those two songs, but it just takes me right out of it.
No, it's for me, I really love Brandy Clark. I don't know if so um and all of her songs, like they resonate with me. I can sing along to them. And She gets me out of that like funk. I know Taylor Swift, I will say I really do love some of her songs. Like they're just upbeat and they make me feel goofy and sing. Um, but also like Wham. I know
Wham.
like
Okay, so I have a love and hatred for Wham. The only hatred I have, okay, the only hatred that I have for is every Christmas. Okay, so I work at Outback,
I
and
don't want to hear about last Christmas. You
oh my
I got
God,
your heart and then you gave it away. I don't know.
you so much. I love you for that. I love you so much for. I can't stand that song now.
Like I get
And I hear the Taylor Swift song. I'm like, I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm done today. I can't take Taylor. I can't take any like last Christmas song. I don't know. I don't care who.
it's it's funny, but yes, like the first time I hear it of the season, I'm like, yeah, I like this song. Like it's good. And then like by the eighth time, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like
Hey,
I
yeah,
I
right,
know that like she took your heart and
and
then I
right
get
away.
it, but
Yeah, it's like, okay, but we don't need to hear 8 more times.
yes.
But
But
see, tragically, that is not the worst Christmas song ever. Okay, because we did an episode on it. My
oh,
friend Blake did it, and he's it because this is done. Christmas rapping is the worst Christmas song ever made. Uh,
okay.
I can I can
Oh,
look at if you need to know who sings that.
yeah,
But
if I don't
no,
I don't know that I've heard of that one, but it's my my ex-husband and my children's last name is Hippo, Hippo.
right,
Um, so I want a hippopotamus for Christmas is kind of um a staple around here at Christmas. Uh, but it's a fun song, but also I don't want to hear it 800 times.
right. Okay, so it is. Hold on, just a minute. Christmas song. The letter thing.
Okay, so he is.
Waitress. Waitresses.
Okay.
The things that, yeah.
See,
Oh,
you
it's
say that I think of the musical and I loved that musical. It was
right.
a great but that is not what you were talking about. I
No,
just see
yeah.
that's funny
Oh,
because there was a movie, Waitress that was
right,
based off or I guess the Broadway show. I don't remember which came first, but that or that movie is full of songs. And so you said waitresses, and my brain went to
to the
the
movie instead
movie.
of the, yeah, yeah,
But it went to there because that movie came out when my daughter was just a few weeks old and I needed to get out of the house. So I took her to the movies and I had her wrapped up and I was carrying her. Um, but she went to that movie with me and there's a song, it's called the Pie Song, and it's, one of the lines is, baby, don't you cry, I'm gonna make a pie with a heart in the middle.
right,
But because she was there with me, I started to sing her that song at night and she would go to bed, like when I would rock her to sleep. And so you saying waitresses all of a sudden took me to, I remember being in that theater with my daughter and then singing that song to her while she was a baby and rocking her to sleep and how the great memories of that. And
right.
so that's what I love about music is that you could say one word and all of a sudden I am back to one of the
Yeah,
most amazing times of my life and also one of the hardest because I struggled with postpartum depression after my daughter was born.
yeah.
But those moments where she was just with me and just snuggled up, that was a special time. And so instead of remembering all the like how hard it was and how,
You
good,
remember the good things, yeah.
I'm remembering the good things. And
It
so
should be,
I, I love that that's the way my brain works. And I think other people's brains work that way too, is those songs, like there's like scents too. Like when you smell something, that brings back
right.
memories. And for me, it's
So I have the same kind of thing you do because every time someone's talking, right, and if they say something like, "Yeah, he was my hero," and blah 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 blah, I'm like, you know who has a song called "My Hero" that's so good? Foo Fighters. it just clicks on, I don't know how I do it, but yeah, but I do, yeah.
But isn't there also a Mariah Carey song called Hero?
Yes. Yeah.
And that song came out right about the time that my dad was really sick. And I remember thinking that he was my hero.
See,
Um,
you just did it.
just
You
did
just,
it again, right?
yeah,
Like all of like again, like your
yeah,
hero song was
yeah.
different than mine, but
But,
yet we both had a memory associated with like hero
I tell you
song.
what, I tell you what. Now, Foo Fighters, my hero song. Oh my God, that's the best song ever made. I think that's such a good song. I don't know if you heard of it. But
I'm sure
yeah,
I've heard it.
I'm sure you
I'm like
have.
making notes over here. I'm like, check out
Yeah.
this song and this. Because it sounds like I love country too. And you're
Um,
in South Carolina and I'm in Texas and I grew up in Kentucky. So, like we're Southern, right?
no,
That's
yeah,
like who's
very,
supposed to
yeah,
like country. And you're right, like I don't understand why there's like this hate for country from so many people. Now, I don't necessarily love like I'm not super like a twangy,
right.
kind of country person. And I think we all have music that we love. But yeah, like again, country is one that just there's soul in it, right? Like there's stories. And I know, the joking of like the perfect country song, right? Like my
A
my
dog,
wife left me, dog died, my truck broke down,
but,
my mom is in
yeah,
prison, right? Like
that's like an ongoing meme, because I see that meme everywhere. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to.
well, well, I mean, right, but it's and the thing is that other songs, other genres have the same sorts of things. They're just not quite as obvious, maybe, or maybe we've just made such a joke about
Yeah.
this is what country music is. But there's storytelling in music.
Mhm.
And I think that that is also incredibly powerful to remind us that our story is powerful.
Right.
Um, because, your story of, right, like, well, I'm going to back up. When you were growing up and you have cerebral palsy, which, I don't know, hopefully our listeners know because it's fairly common, I guess, but would you share a little bit about what that means to have cerebral palsy and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Okay. So with me, I kind of want you to ask me those kind of questions to anybody who's listening. Please stop and ask me what is cerebral palsy, because not many people know it. So, cerebral palsy is a disorder in the brain that the brain can't communicate with the whole body. Right off the bat. Okay. So, I was born with it. I think you can be born with it. You can't get it after birth. You can't get it later in life. You're just born with it. Okay. So you could get it from a few things. Mine was I couldn't when I came out. When I was delivered, I guess is the PG term. Um, the umbilical cord was around my neck, and I couldn't breathe. So that's probably why CP, is in my life right now. I'm not really sure, but that's what doctor told her. And that makes sense, because I mean,
Right.
if you can't get enough air to the brain doesn't know that, you know. So my right hand can't do much as my left hand because I'm a left-hander now. Um, so I'm one of the lefties. So we're a rare breed.
And more
Uh,
creative, I understand.
for that, yes, because we are. Well, I am. So yeah, but I walk with a walker now since I was 25, maybe. Because I used to hold on to my mom, and she's like, "I don't know if you want to keep on doing this, man. You got to branch out." And now I was slow against the walker. Although I walked with the walker, like when I was like in like school,
Right.
and then in high school, I used the scooter to get around faster, so that was fun. Yeah, yeah.
I could
Uh, right, yeah, yeah. So it's I find amazing that you live in Dallas because I was born in Austin, Texas.
Oh,
So,
I
but I
love
did,
Austin.
yes,
Austin is a great city with lots of great music in it.
right, yeah. But
Um,
but I haven't visited, but I have never been back there ever since I was born. So I need to go back.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
There's so many great little music venues, and I mean, I love it. In fact, no, I was gonna say the last concert I went, but it's not. Um, 2 concerts ago, I saw a artist named Ben Donaher, who is singer, songwriter, a little country. He was born and raised in Austin, lives in Nashville now. He is, that fun, songs are sad, but they're,
They're
you
so
know,
great. Yeah.
but I love it. And it was this great small venue, maybe 150 seats. And it was just like, so you were in it, which is
Yeah.
always fun. But okay, so with CP, it doesn't affect your like brain and like as in your
No,
intelligence, your ability to process information,
it just
anything.
fix it just affects my motor skills. I walk with a slight gait, but it's like I used to say I don't walk like normal people. I'm like, but then again, it's like who's normal anymore? There's no such thing as
Well, I
normal.
mean, normal is a setting on the washing machine. Like, what
Okay,
else is
yeah,
normal? I don't
yeah.
know.
So
Um,
now I say mobile people, because they're more mobile than me, which
right.
makes sense. Yeah. So
So I, I'm curious, do people approach you and make assumptions that you're not as intelligent as you are because your motor skills are different than the average person's?
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know how they perceive me, uh, meeting me for the first time, but I think that they don't because I have had several jobs in my life. I worked at a college for 10 years doing help desk. Worked at a computer company repairing computers. I worked at a public library. I worked at Dave& and Buster's, and now I work at Outback. So I don't think that they know that I can't think for myself or, on what you just said, because I'm out doing stuff in mobile and I get so many compliments about, how people will never want to work now and you're getting out and working and they're so, happy to see me when you go. I even get customers come back, just talk to me. I'm like, oh, this is awesome,
Well,
Yeah.
that makes sense because you have
Yeah.
a way about you that brings people in, which is something that like you just can't.
You can't teach.
Can't really, well, yeah, it's either you have it or you don't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can teach someone skills, but you can't teach someone how to just have a great personality and
Right. Yeah.
want to
It
be
ha-
around you.
yeah, that has to come naturally, I don't know.
Yeah. So we were talking before we started recording that you're getting ready to move somewhere else. So when you were little, did you think you would be living on your own as you?
No, not at all. I thought I would be living with my mom and dad forever. But it's a good thing that I moved out because when I moved out and like 4 years later, my mom says, "I'm so glad you moved out and got a life for yourself because me and your dad can't take care of you anymore. We're struggling with this and this and this and this." And I'm so happy that they said that because it makes me feel good that I'm doing something for myself too. Of course, I'm doing something for them because they always thought that I could get out, and they were kind of hesitant on letting me go. But when I left, they're like, "All right, he did it."
I think that's, yeah.
Yeah.
How did that impact your mental health when you were able to live on your own and not have to depend on someone for everything?
Okay, so when I first moved out, I remember sitting at the edge of my bed and just crying because I moved out. Like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, can I go back home? No, but yeah, but I missed them for like a day, and then after that day, it's like, all right, we're gonna do this, my way. So, but mental health wise, I was always I shouldn't say I was always depressed. I was uh I have paperwork on it, so I am depression wise. But I started getting depressed around 25, 26 maybe. Because I've had a girlfriend and she left. Well, okay, so it didn't work out. let me just say that right out the bat, the communication wasn't there. I messed up and she messed up. You know, we've had our own differences, and that's fine. You know, we're still friends to this day. But that really took a turn for the worse for me with depression, and that's when my mom knew that I wasn't right. Because usually I was a happy-go-lucky yacht kind of guy, and she's like, "Okay, there's something wrong. We need to get you to the doctor." And then that's when they uh said, or I don't know what the medical term is, but you diagnosed with depression. And then they put me on a medication, and I've been taking it for I don't know how long, it's like 10 years probably, until the medication started when I started taking the medication, it was very my whole body got nervous. I don't know. I knew it was that medication, so I got on a brand new one, and then they took me off it last year. So I'm doing 10 times better now.
That is awesome. And I
Yep.
think,
But fair to say that even though I am the off depression, that doesn't mean I'll never get back on it because something might happen in the future. I don't know. You know, I'm just
and I think like what you said though is, you had to change medications. And I know for myself as well, I changed medication several times to find the one that worked the best for me with the fewest side effects,
right.
so that I could live the most full life
Yeah.
possible.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think, and also new medications come out, and
I do.
like for you, it sounds like your symptoms change, that your depression,
Yeah.
it's in remission right now. But like you said, it could come back.
Right.
And I think, like for me, I am fairly certain that I will be on medication for the rest of my life.
And that's okay.
I'm okay
Yeah.
with that because,
Yeah.
if I had type 1 diabetes, right, no one would think, oh, Amanda, you should just get off that insulin and like
Well,
you'll be fine.
with diabetes, you need insulin, so like you kind of have to take it.
Right. And I like to tell people like my brain doesn't do all the right chemical stuff it's supposed to do. So I take medicine for that, just like insulin. I mean, it's a little different, but insulin, your body's not creating all the right chemicals to handle your blood sugar, and you
Right.
need insulin. And so I need this medication. Now, I'd love for there to be a cure for bipolar, so I don't need any medication just because I don't, want to take it. It's
Right.
just, more thing I have to think about. But I know that, like you said, you might end up back on medication. And I think that that's a really healthy place for most of us to be, is that, hey, this is great that I'm off medication right now, or that I'm in remission from whatever, depression, anxiety, but to still be vigilant that like it could come back.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And now, like you have a name for it, and you know that there are treatments that help you feel better.
Right.
It's because I know for me, when I first was in this process, I didn't get any relief for so long that I felt so helpless. And now that I have had medication that's helped me live, um, it's powerful. And I like to tell people about the incredible like gift that medication is.
Right.
And one of the things that I struggled with several times was, I was born and raised going to church. I'm active in my church, and not in my church, but I went with another person to a different church and was talking to someone I'd never met before. And this person told me, well, if you just pray more, like God will heal you, and so you can stop taking medication. And one, that made me super angry. But my counter to them was, what if God's way of healing me was to give these scientists and these researchers the ability to find a medication
Mm.
that allows me to live
Yeah.
in a way that, I feel good about, and that I can show up for my family and my friends. They weren't so crazy about, like, for them, it was like medication and being healed and
Yeah.
some miracle, that was the only way that God could show up. And I would argue that God or the universe or creator, source, whatever you out there is your, how you define the world,
Yeah.
that there's something bigger out there. That's my opinion. And I think that that's something bigger has helped humans learn and grow and develop really incredible things, whether that's an electric guitar so that we can hear incredible music, or a medication to help treat our mental illnesses. And I just think, and that made me think like how old music is, right? Like you hear about music in the Bible and you think about drums and things like, that you've seen for years, right? What are they called? Lutes? Is that what it is?
Yes. Yeah.
Little, in
Like a
Greek.
harp. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So
Yeah.
music has been around almost as long as,
For centuries. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
and that should tell us something, right? That if music has stuck around this long and developed and changed, maybe it's something that we're supposed to
Doing something right. Right.
spend time on
Yeah,
and
right.
enjoy. It's just, I just love talking about like the music, and because music is just, it's powerful. And um, I think my daughter she's in a choir, and my bathroom and her bedroom wall, like, joined together. And sometimes I can hear her sing, like,
Nice.
she's practicing, but I sit there and I listen, and it just makes me happy that she's found this thing, that she loves. Um, she's made friends through it. In March, she's going to Spain and Portugal with
Nice.
a bunch of other students. I think there's about 50 people going. They're going to do concerts in a couple different places. And and this is a way that like music has connected her with others, and it's giving her a great opportunity to go to Spain and Portugal. I'm a little jealous. I want to go. Um, but it's also, it's a way to express yourself.
Yeah.
And for her, I think it's really helped with her, how she views herself, because she can now get up on stage with, man, I'm trying to think how many people are in their choir in at the high school. But there's probably 150 kids, in those freshmen through seniors. And they are so connected, and you can see the friendships that they have created through this musical program. And I think that's why the arts are important, and
Very.
our
Yeah.
mental well-being, and whether that's music or theater or painting or drawing or whatever it is, that creativity does something to our brains, I think, to
Yeah.
heal, or I don't know, and connect with people. So with that, do you create any music of your own, or are you just the expert who knows all the things about all the music?
I don't. Okay, so with me, I'm not. I will say this. I will say I'm not an expert on music. I just really, really like it. And my co-host Blake, mostly we call him Brosley on the show. Blake and Mosley put them together. Brosley, right? That's fun. Uh, but he is. He always says that he is the. Uh, he knows too much about useless music knowledge. So if I don't know anything about anything, I go to him and say, okay, well, and he'll give me the answer right away.
So you use your resources.
Yeah, right. But to go back to music instruments or whatever, make music, I really, really want to now. I've had my uncle Junior teach me a little bit of the guitar. I think I still know how to play, but I, need to pick that up again. Um, but to go back on the dark side again, okay. He committed he committed suicide. I'm just gonna say that right now. I had a cousin that did it also, but when my uncle left, I man, I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Because he and I really connected over music. He taught me how to play guitar some, told me about all these amazing bands. I like amazing bands. He and I really connected on a one-to-one level about that. So when he left, I was like, okay, well, what do I do now? I guess that brought up the depression. Also losing him and my cousin too. Um, so yeah, but I really, really want to get back to playing guitar. Because I don't think I can do well on drums. My co-host plays drums really well, really well. He plays for our church. So I think if I can learn how to play guitar, we can come up with a band or something. Who knows? Who
think that would
knows?
be awesome. I mean, I don't know if you can see, I have a guitar over here.
I,
Um,
I,
I'm not great. I play a little. It was um, I'm 40 now. I'm gonna learn a new skill.
I
And it sits there to remind me, like, you need to practice.
Get up.
I'm like,
Yes.
I made sure I got like a guitar that, is, I'll show you. It's a
Oh,
beautiful
yeah.
guitar, and it's a seagull, and it brings me great joy, but I definitely don't use it as much as I would love to, because when I play it, I get kind of lost in it. I don't really pay, the rest of the world sort of goes away, which is a really lovely thing sometimes, to just be in the moment with
Right. Exactly.
either, the musical instrument or the person that you're with, or, you
Exactly.
know,
I love the fact that you have an acoustic guitar because acoustics are acoustic music is a whole lot better than anything else in the world. I mean, yes, there's a need for electric guitar, but when you turn that electric guitar song into an acoustic song 10,000 times better.
there's a beauty in acoustic
Yes.
guitar or a cappella singing, right? Like, without
Yeah.
and I think some of it for me is it's because it goes back to sort of its original
Right.
form,
Right.
right? Like pre-electricity, you know, auto tune and all of those things. Like, it's just you and the notes. There's nothing getting in between you. There's no speaker, there's no, you know, mixing board, there's no
Exactly. Yes.
amp, it's just you and the notes and
Right.
um and so yeah, I'm always and also, like, you can take an acoustic guitar on a camping trip, and you can,
Anywhere. Anywhere. Yeah.
or sit in the park and play music, and you don't have to carry a bunch of stuff, and a acoustic guitar is not particularly heavy,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it can kind of go anywhere. And
Have, have you heard of a backpack acoustic guitar? It's a little bitty one, like about that big, and it's just that's amazing. It's just like yours, but it's twice as little as yours right now. Yeah, my uncle has one, and I can't find it for anything. I want to buy one.
yeah,
So
that sounds like kind of like ukulele size, but
yeah,
with more
yes,
guitar
but
sound.
yeah. That's perfect for going on camping trips and everything. Yeah, instead of
Now
on
I'm
some.
tempted. I might check one out. My brother-in-law is quite a musician, and he and
Yeah,
my sister
going
love to camp. So I might go check that out for him for his
right,
next birthday or something. 'Cause
right.
that sounds really, really cool.
Yeah,
I just am I'm looking at that guitar. I'm like, I'm gonna practice some today.
please do, yeah, yeah.
Because it
All
does.
you need, all you need is 10 minutes of 10 minutes a day. I've heard, and that's
No, it
enough.
doesn't. It doesn't take much, and when I was playing pretty regularly and taking lessons, it felt so good. It was like my own time away from everything. And I got to play what I love, right? Like, it was my music. And no one else could tell me what to do.
Right, yes, yeah.
Until my kids come in and tell me
Stop that, mom.
better than me. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I love my teenagers. most of them. Well, I love them all the time. I don't always like them.
Most of the time, right? Yeah, yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, yes, I think you're right with the acoustic. I think it's about being connected even more to the music, which is why I mean, live music too can be really incredible, because you're surrounded by it and you're immersed in it with the people around you and everyone's singing and dancing. And so like and also what am I trying to say? I get anxious with lots of people.
Right.
So I don't go to as much live music as I would like to. But a couple of months ago, one of my good friends called me and she said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm nothing." She was like, "Well, what are you doing tonight?" And I was like, sitting at home watching television. Like, I don't know. She's like,
Yeah.
"I have an extra ticket to the Chicks concert.
Yes, let's
Do you
go.
want to go?" And I was like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Without question. Yeah.
And she was like, "All right." And so we met there and had the most just amazing time. We, sang and we danced and we sat there and cried at some of the songs that, reminded us of college days.
Memories. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
because, this is, oh my gosh, I guess I met Anita in 2000. So, for us to go to this concert together on this music that we listened to, when we first met was so much fun. And to be around all these other people. And next to us, we were on the lawn, next to us were three moms with their three teenage daughters.
Right.
And it was so neat to watch like these two generations join together with one
Something
band.
one. Yeah.
And so again, it's, I think music brings us together, and I think connection impacts our mental health so much.
Yeah.
So like before we wrap up, what is like your one like recommendation for a music, a band, a song that listeners should check out that's just the best that you think right now?
So, you have 2 more hours. No, just,
I mean,
I got a
you
lot
have
to
that
say.
many?
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so yes, I do actually, because I got a playlist of like 40, like 400 different songs.
Oh my
But
God.
okay, so if you're in the country, there's always Chris Stapleton, which I love and admire so much. Luke Combs, um, Eric Church, Luke Bryan, Blake Shelton, great artists. Country artist now coming up that I've actually got interviewed is Sarah Harrelson. She's a new and up and coming country artist. Um, and she took I think she worked with Garth Brooks's guitarist,
Oh
if I'm
wow.
not. And I bring her up just to tell you this. After I interviewed her, she actually wanted me to be in a music video. So it's on YouTube. It's called the Chance by Sarah Harrelson.
The
Um,
writing this
the,
down.
the Chance by Sarah Harrelson. Harralson is her last name with two R's. Yeah, two
Oh,
R's. And the Chance is a song by how many people get to not get the chance to do stuff. And she asked me, what was your what did you always want to do, right? And I asked, and all she wanted me to do was hold up a paper saying what I always wanted to do in life, right? And I said to inspire people, you know, and that's what I'm doing. You know, you can find me at like the 20-second mark or something. It's a great song. You should hear it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm gonna check it out, and I'm gonna link it, the YouTube
yeah,
video in the show notes so that everyone can see you, but also hear this
this amazing song, right?
artist yeah. And I think I love that. And I think that you are inspiring people with just showing up and showing like that, whether it's depression or cerebral palsy, that like it's not holding you back, right? You are living a full
I'm doing it. You're right.
life. And it's a reminder that like you can do it all, and it's hard.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that was my country artist.
Okay, so next,
Okay. Next, we're gonna do rock. Okay.
okay.
So you got Chevelle, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots. Eyes Wide Open is a band that y'all should know. Those are all great rock and roll, and there's many others that I haven't named. So if you're into heavy metal, go to Behemoth. Venues is awesome band. I interviewed them and they were such a lovely band. They come from Germany. They're amazing. Um, Children in the Bodom, if you haven't heard of them, you go listen to them. Yeah, there's just so many great artists. I know I'm leaving out. But if you're into rap, go to the all of course you can go to Tupac, the Biggie Smalls, stuff like that. And of course Jay-Z and whatever. And Body Count is another metal band from Ice-T. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Hmm.
Uh, they're a great band as well. Oh, and always listen to Creed.
Oh,
Creed
right.
gets bad rap. I don't know why, but they're so great at what they do.
Okay, what about Nickelback?
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the open-ended question for me because I do love Nickelback, but in a way people might not think. Okay, because their albums are great. Albums are great. Front to end, they're great. It's the media that messed them up. Okay, so they played their most poppy songs on the radio forever in the day, and they have good rock songs that they haven't played on the radio. I don't know why they messed them up.
Well, and
You
I
know,
think that that's like true for other artists.
right?
I mean, I think, and even for us is, there's something that we become known for that because that's what, someone else has decided is going to sell. Because like, right, the record label probably was like, this is the song we're going to
Yeah,
release first. And then everything else got,
yeah, because they came out during the pop era. Where all nothing but popular. It's all.
right.
So I think the label messed them up to make sure that they were played pop wise, but in turn they messed them up at the same time.
And I
Because a
think,
lot of people doesn't like them still to this day, and I'm like, why, dude? You
well,
know,
because, there's that joke, right? That they're just not a great band for
right,
whatever
yeah,
reason.
right,
That's, and we touched on it earlier, but like TikTok, I I have found some really amazing artists
yeah,
on TikTok.
right.
Um, and so I'll share two of my new favorites that I found there, which first one is Loveless, if you've heard them.
Lovely. I have heard of them. Yeah,
And then the other one is Nicotine Dolls.
would never heard of them.
They both are fantastic, and they kind of have a pop punk sort of feel to both of them.
Right,
Um,
we'll write that
they've
down.
got like a beautiful, gritty voice. I tend to lean towards female artists, but those
Yeah,
two,
yes. Please let's talk about that for a minute. I find that a few more voices is the most awesome thing on this planet, right? Even though like half of my catalog is male voices, I find that female voices has a more of a calm over it. I mean, it just brings so much calm to me hearing a female voice more than a male's voice, for
and
some reason.
and I find I love unique voices. Like I think, like Pink and Alanis Morissette have a very different voice, and they can do different things with their voice than like Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is incredibly talented,
Yeah.
but she
Oh yeah.
doesn't always have like the same gravelly, raspy quality that
Right.
Pink has. And that
Right.
doesn't mean that one is better than the other. They just have different voices. And I think that, that is what makes music fun is that
Yeah.
even, I know that Sheryl Crow did a cover of shoot, it has escaped me all of a sudden. It is a a Guns N' Roses song. It's gonna drive me crazy.
It,
Um,
it, let's go through them. Let's go with
Sheryl
uh,
Crow.
Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise
Maybe,
City.
oh, I think it was Sweet Child of Mine.
Right, yeah, yeah, that seems to be
And
the
and
most popular.
I love Sheryl Crow and I love Guns N' Roses. In fact, like you talked about drummer, like I had Slash on my wall, not Axl Rose growing up because, he was mysterious and you couldn't really see his face and what teenage girl doesn't like a mysterious man? I don't know. But there was something about, and I think Sheryl Crow is wonderful. I grew up with her, like Tuesday Night Music Club, right? That was a album that helped shape my, youth.
Right,
I didn't love the two of them to get like it together. I didn't love her singing that song. Um, so I don't, and but again, that's personal. Like there probably are millions of people out there that love it. And if they heard me say that, they'd be like, you were wrong. It was amazing. And here's why. But
right,
that's the great thing about music is we get to listen to what we love. And um, each of our tastes are as unique as we are. And it's also, for me, all of our mental health is different for each of us, which is why, there are a million different ways to treat it and to show up and to express ourselves. But I think you're right. Like when you've talked about music being a way to heal and to connect and um, music is powerful. I love it. And I love that you are sharing music and not just talking about like the big bands, right? I was about to be like Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys aren't big anymore. It was just because I saw something earlier today about them. Post Malone, we'll say, like, yeah, he's big. And I think, it's not my jam. I know he is talented. Um, but he's not someone that I listen to on a regular basis. But sometimes those smaller bands that you've talked about, like, that you've gotten to talk with, I think that's awesome to give them a platform, but also a reminder that there's a lot of really incredibly talented, unique people out there.
right.
So I hope that I know you have what, 3 years worth of episodes. And how often
Yeah.
when do you all release them?
Okay, so
Sick days or?
cool. I'm so glad that you asked this because we have a few series on our podcast. I thought about breaking them up, but I'm like, why don't we just combine them? So on either Monday or Tuesday, we have our main episode, which we cover either a song or a specific genre or a band, and we go through the whole catalog about what who they were and what they are doing that right now, and I mean albums. We cover the whole thing. That's the Mondays and Tuesdays main show. We always got a main show. And then I started to do this because my friend said you should compare cover songs. Okay. So what we do now is we have a series called Cover Wars. We got 3 series about that. Okay. So with the first series, it's just me and Brosley comparing the two songs. So what we do is we find 2 cover songs and see which one's better, worse, or equal. Because
Mhm.
every song is different. So we do that with just me and him, and then I have musicians coming back that what I interviewed, and we do that with musicians. We do the same thing. I find out their favorite song, they come on, and we listen live, and we discuss which one we like better. And then now we are open to anybody coming on and doing it. So we want you to come on, or your daughter, or whoever wants to come on. Come on, we would love to do that with y'all.
That
So
is, yeah, that sounds like so much fun. Because sometimes I think cover songs, like the cover can be better than the original because it's a different.
I will ask you this: are you a fan of the Office series on Peacock?
Yes,
Okay, so do you know where I'm going with this right now? Because
I'm
I've
not
seen it.
sure, but see, that's a remake of a British show that I
Right.
think like it's kind of a cover of a previous show, and I think that it was done quite well.
Right, but that's not what I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay, so okay, so Andy Bernard, okay,
Yes, he's a
great character. I love that guy, right? He did a cover of what is it, Sarah something. It's I Will Remember You.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
Sarah McLachlan, yes.
Yes, thank you.
The one that makes you cry at the
Yeah,
at
yeah,
or the ASPCA commercials.
right. He did a cover of that song on that show with an acoustic guitar, and that is by far the best ever cover ever, ever. I encourage you to look it up on YouTube and listen
I
to it.
will. I will. There
Yeah.
is I mentioned that the Nicotine Dolls, and there's part of me that like wanted they did a cover of the song from uh Pretty Woman, King of Wishful Thinking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it like it just hits differently, like something about like this rasp in his voice, and he changed the tempo a little bit.
Right.
And like, yeah, it's an 80s song, but he made it like not feel so 80s.
Yeah.
Like that, like I don't even want to say elevated. He changed it. Like it's a more modern version of that song. So I'm going to track down that as well as the Nicotine Dolls cover that I'm talking about. And I'm going to link those as well in the show notes because I think everyone, like, if that really is the greatest cover of all time,
I think
everyone
it.
needs to know.
I think it is, but you
Um,
might not think it, I don't know. I don't know what you know.
well,
Yeah,
you
because music is so subjective. Anybody can have an opinion on it,
and
and that's fair to say that you might not like it, and that's okay.
well, I think about like I don't like rap or heavy metal. Like
Right,
that's
okay.
just not
Yeah, that's not your
that's just
bag.
not what I like.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing like if you like it, more power to you. It's not what
Yeah.
I want to listen to. And
And that's totally fine. You know.
it's yeah, it's funny. I've been dating a man for about 6 months now, and he's fantastic. And most of our, well, we have lots of things that overlap. But I was
Right.
talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, he really loves metal, and I really love Taylor Swift, but we seem to meet in the middle with 80s hair bands. And I was like, that feels like it could be a country lyric. Like he likes metal, I like Taylor, and we meet in the middle. Like there's a lyric in there, there's a song in there. I just know it. I just am not talented enough to write it.
I have a shirt that I have a funny shirt from August Burns Red. I'm sure you've heard of the band somewhere, but they're a metal band, and their shirt is so funny. I had to buy it. It has a logo on the front of the shirt, but on back of it says, angry music for happy people. And I thought that was like, but that's so true, because metalheads are really. I mean, they don't
Oh,
really hate anybody.
oh no, and they're sometimes the most chill people that I've
Yeah.
ever met.
Right.
For me, I just want to be able to sing along and like,
Right. Yeah.
and I don't want to yell at like music. It's personal.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, like I don't think people that listen to metal are, angry or
Right.
mean or anything. Just like people that listen to, like probably some of the people that listen to Taylor Swift, are struggling just as much,
Yeah.
as anyone else. Like just because you listen to fantastic music or music that brings you joy
Right.
doesn't mean that you don't have the potential for a mental illness or just to have a crappy day.
Right. You're right.
Which
Yeah.
is why I also love music, is because sometimes it can just pull me right out.
Yeah.
Um, and as we were talking, I was just thinking about though, how many times, and I don't know if you do this, I'm curious if anyone else does this out there, share with me. I have my favorite playlists and I will play them and I'll hit shuffle. And then I'll be like, nope, that's not the song I wanted to listen to. And I will just keep
Yes.
getting next, even though I've got the playlist that I love. It's like, no, that's not
You
the
just don't
song.
feel
No,
like listening to that song right now, but you will come back and okay,
right.
we'll do
Like eventually I'll get back to it, but like,
it.
no, that's not the song I want right now. Oh, there it is. And then I'll sing along and
I do the same thing too. Yep. Yep.
which is just funny that because I think sometimes I don't know what song I need.
Yes, until you
until
actually,
it until
yeah,
it comes on and it's like, that's what I needed to hear right now, or because that's the one I can sing the loudest to, or that's the one that's bringing this memory, and that's the one that's making me feel whatever way. So
right.
I think I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one that puts it on shuffle and they're like, nope, nope, no, that's not it. So I love that that all of us maybe need to find that song that's going to speak to us in that moment.
Right.
Now I just want to go like listen to all the songs and like sing. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wrap up now. We've been going for a while and I've had so much fun with this conversation. So thank you so much for joining me today and sharing about you and your experiences with music and cerebral palsy and depression and your family's suicides. I'm going to link all of these things that we've talked about in the show notes, as well as links to James' podcast, his TikTok and YouTube and Twitter, and I think Facebook. I think I've got all of them in there.
Okay. Yeah.
And going to make sure I link these songs that we've talked about as well, so that you can go find them. And at the end of every episode, I like to share a little, I call it a mental morsel, just a little something that you can do to improve your mental health. We've talked about music, something that I love to do often. The absolute embarrassment of my children is dance. I think having, whether it's in the car or a dance party in your living room, whatever it is, I think that, dancing with the music just it fills my soul. There is some research that says that dancing can actually improve your self-esteem. It helps with social skills. It releases endorphins. It helps you bond with the other people you're dancing with. It can be a great thing. So I would encourage all of our listeners to, at some point today, find their favorite song and rock out to it. Sing at the top of your lungs and dance, even if it's car dancing or chair dancing or whatever. But like, move your body, because that's also great for you, right? Movement, music, and dance, and just enjoy the moment wherever you are. Because sometimes those little moments are what bring us such great joy. And who knows, you may create one of those core memories like James and I have talked about with songs. So with all of that, we have reached the end of today's episode. I want to thank all of you for listening and learning.
Let me interject you.
Yes.
In 4 months' time, I want you to play me a song on that guitar right behind you.
Okay.
4 months. I'll give you 4 months.
Okay. So today is
January 13th.
yes. So it's the 13th. So we've got to February. Okay. So we're looking
April 13th. About.
April 13th. Okay.
You think you got it?
Okay. I've got some time. I can do it. And whatever song I want.
Whatever song. Yes, whatever
Okay.
song you want.
Will you let me sing poorly along with it? I'm not a great singer. I'd love to sing though.
We'll have you on our show, and you can sing your heart out.
Okay, and they won't make fun of me for my okay. Well,
If they do, I'll call them out. I'll say,
well,
yeah,
no,
you took care.
this is great because now I have like a reason to practice.
Yes,
And
yes.
and I'm gonna rewind for a second. There is something powerful about setting a goal with a timeline to feel accomplished and to feel like you have something to work towards.
Exactly.
So I love that you gave me that challenge. And
Yeah.
why do I feel like I'm a little nervous? But
Oh, no.
I'm gonna do this because I
We're-
think that it
Hey,
will.
hey, we're all human, okay? We're all human, and humans make mistakes. So
Well,
if you, yeah,
it gives me permission to take a break from work,
yes.
right? To go do that because I've got someone that I'm doing it for, and that's exciting. So I will practice and I will be a guest and I will play. However well or poorly, I will play and it will be incredible. I'm not sure if I like you or hate you for giving me
Oh
that.
my God, this is great.
But
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'll have to come up with a song that is both easy and fun and brings me joy. So, right.
Check out that Andy Bernard song and maybe
Yes, yeah, we're gonna link all of those in the Sarah Harrison or the
Harrelson.
Harrelson. And then I'm also gonna put the Nicotine Dolls and Loveless in there. And specifically that Nicotine Dolls cover. Oh, and Loveless actually did a cover of Sam Smith's what's that new song? The Body Shop
Oh
song.
yeah.
They did,
Yeah.
but they did a beautiful cover of it.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. So thank you. I will link all of those things, and thank you for the challenge of working and learning a song to play for you guys. And when that happens, I promise to my listeners, I will let you all know and include a link on our website as well as social media. And I may even release just that as a little episode just to, let people know I followed through. So I hope that you've heard James and I have conversations about not just mental health, but kind of the world as a whole, and how all sorts of different things impact the way that we show up in this world with our mental health and our general well-being. So I hope that you use this as an opportunity to go and open up a conversation and discover more ways that mental health is being experienced in your community. You can find more of the Mental Society podcast in all the places you find your favorite podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything, like, me playing a guitar.
Yeah.
And thank you again, James, for joining us. And
Sure.
I am Amanda Dolan, and this is the Mental Society. And I am wishing you good health, mental and otherwise.